Hey, everybody! How you doing? This is Freeze,
Hey, hello everyone. My name's Derek.
and this is RCMG TV Sports Talk. We talk about do some post game commentary for the Detroit Pistons versus the New Orleans Pelicans tonight. They lost 105-94 tonight. Before we get into it, we've been on a little hiatus, so we're gonna recap the last few weeks with the Detroit Pistons. The big thing happened when they released Josh Smith from the team. And what are your comments on that, Derek?
Yeah, Freeze. What I feel that happened was glorification. Reason why I said that because the Pistons have really been playing extraordinary in the last couple weeks due to a new life, a new level of new energy that the Pistons have attained by going back to playing more loose, playing fast, playing great defense. So it's been outstanding since December 26th. Pistons have been on fire, winning 9 games out of the last 11.
Yeah, I mean, it was like it was an early Christmas present because I couldn't believe they let go of Josh Smith. I've been calling for this, before he even got on the team. That was just a sign, and I just did not understand. And finally, Stan Van Gundy figured it out that he needed to get rid of him, and he answered our prayers, I guess. You know what I'm saying? And it is obvious that Detroit has been a completely different team, like you said, going 9-2 in the last 11 games, and it was just needed. And even though we've been playing a lot better and doing pretty good, you know what I'm saying, we still got to make a few changes, and I'm just not sure if Van Gundy is going to make the right decisions as far as future trades or changes. We got to wait and see. But what else intrigues you about this last couple weeks?
Well, Freeze, if you go back to December 15th, Pistons had lost 4 games in a row. They had lost to Dallas, to Toronto, to Brooklyn. And when they lost all these games back in December 15th, we really was at a point where the team looked like it was just ready to go to a lottery selection. It looked like a team that had no future. It looked like a team that was just totally falling apart. They had lost 4 games in a row, and then that's from the 15th through December 21st. And then it seemed like after the Brooklyn loss, that was it. I think Stan Van Gundy, Tom Gores, all of the management at the Pistons headquarters said enough is enough. We lost to Brooklyn, and something's going to have to change. So on that evening, when I came and looked on my internet report, the greatest news actually had just blew me away. And the news was that the Pistons had waived Josh Smith from the Detroit Pistons and also was willing to pay him his money he's owed, which I believe it was like $36 million, and spread it over a number of years. So anytime you take a team that's willing to lose that much money to get rid of a player, he must have really showed that he had bad chemistry on this team. But what do you think, Freeze? Why do you think the Pistons decided to get rid of Josh Smith?
I mean, basically, he just didn't fit with the team. You know what I'm saying? I think the exact numbers were, over the next 5 years, they're using the stretch provision. They're going to pay him approximately $25 million, $5 million per year for the next 5 years, 2020. So it's like for them to do that, that says how much of a bad fit he was for this team, and also they couldn't find any trade partners with any reasonable trades or take getting any draft picks or anything from any other teams to trade him. So they had to this like desperate situation to get rid of him. It really shows how desperate they were. But I'm happy with I'm happy with them waiving him, and it's something I've been calling for a long time. I think that the Pistons are a way better team without Josh Smith, and it's inevitable. But I think the Pistons still need to upgrade their small forward position. I'm still not a fan of Kyle Singler. You know what I'm saying? I don't think Butler can give you the production you need on a nightly basis because of his age. He's a good in the locker room, but he's not a particularly good player you can rely on every game. and I've been calling for it for the last couple of years. I want to see Gigi Datome play. Speaking of Gigi, they sent Gigi and also Spencer Dinwiddie down to the D League today, and they're going to be participating in the D League showcase down in California for the next couple games. They got a game tomorrow, so I'm happy to get a chance to see him play. But I really would like to see him get some minutes with the Pistons. What do you think, Derek?
Well, yeah, definitely. GG's a scorer, a 3-point threat, and we do need some more players that can light it up from the outside. And but you have to admit that in the last since December 26th, the Pistons have actually been on fire. Just to go back, freeze to that time, on December 26th, the Pistons had beat Cleveland, Orlando, New York, Sacramento, San Antonio, Dallas, 7 straight games in a row. That was amazing. That was an amazing feat. And what happened after they got rid of Josh Smith, Stan Van Gundy said, we're going to have a whole week of hard defensive practice during the Christmas break. And without Josh Smith, it seems like the team basically developed some major chemistry together, because when they finally came out there and played their first game after losing Josh Smith to Indiana, in which who they also play Friday coming up, Indiana was the beginning of the longest Pistons streak they have had in a very long time. And when the Pistons went out there and played Indiana to beat them that first game on the 26th, 119 and 109, the Pistons came out there with just a whole new renewed defense. They played together. They had great ball movement. They shared the ball. The point guards were able to really attack because they controlled the game with their tempo and with their aggression. When Josh Smith was on the team, he basically kept the balls out of the hands of the point guards, and they really just could not really work with Josh Smith at all. So I think really what we're seeing is that the point guards have really revitalized their game. Brandon Jennings and DJ Augustine, they've been playing much better without Josh Smith. And then the shooting has been spectacular. The Pistons have been really nailing their 3-point shots. And then just speaking of one particular player, Meeks has really helped the Pistons to solidify that score, that guy that we needed to actually help win us games late in the game. So I take my hat off to the Pistons for winning them 7 straight games. And it's not over. Even though they lost to Atlanta, and they lost to Atlanta at home, they was down as many as 23 points and came back all the way and cut the game all the way down to a 3-point game. Pope had an opportunity to win to tie the game up, but he had missed a shot, so the Pistons ended up losing 106 to 103. But the good thing, right after that loss, they came back and played Brooklyn and Toronto, and won those 2 games before losing tonight. But tonight, Freeze, what do you think about the game tonight? What do you think the Pistons was just a little flat? Was they a little? They missed a lot of shots and they just didn't look energized tonight. What do you think would happen tonight?
I mean, tonight I think you really ran into a good basketball team in the New Orleans Pelicans, and Anthony Davis, he's a tremendous player, and he's a person that's hard to check. You know what I'm saying? And I honestly think they had the starting point guard Drew Holiday. He actually missed tonight's game, so that put Tariq Evans as your starting point guard. He's 6'6" point guard, and he's a slasher, and he's very difficult to check. I honestly think the Pistons, that's probably what threw the Pistons off. If they would have played Holiday, he's a more traditional size point guard, and they probably would have had a better opportunity keeping him in check and limiting the effectiveness of Tariq Evans if he was coming off the bench. But I really think it was a bad matchup. And then also tonight, I mean, the Pistons have been playing great the last 11 games or so, but the last 3-4 games, Andre Drummond has not showed up at all. You know what I'm saying? He just doesn't have energy, isn't protecting the basket. I think he had a head cold or something a few games ago, and I still don't think he's recovered from it because he has no energy, no enthusiasm out there at all. And I really think that's really hurting the Pistons right now. And our 3-point shots are not falling like they were falling, a few games ago. That's something I also noticed. Meeks was on a tremendous hot streak, but he's really cooled off a lot, within these last few games. So, what I'm saying, in that two guard position between Meeks and Batavius Caldwell Pope, the last few games they just have not been stepping up and scoring enough points to keep scoring enough points to go ahead and give them Pistons that boost they really need to keep everything going. So I really think Kentavious Caldwell Pope and Jody Meeks need to step their game up. And one thing also tonight that Van Gundy went back to, into the third, you saw Brandon Jennings seemed like he was getting hot. He was getting into the game, and then he never entered the game to finish the game at all. He never brought him back. So he fell back into the trap of not playing Jennings again.
Yeah, right, Freeze, and I understand exactly what you're talking about. I know this was a difficult game. The Pistons really, as a whole team, really no one seemed to have came out there to play, except for Moreau. Moreau was able to finish pretty strong with 16 points. But overall, the Pistons really had no answer for Davis, who scored 27 points. Evans, he scored 16. So the team was on fire, and even when the Pistons did try to inch the game back and had cut the game to 22-18, their point guard basically abused DJ Augustine by creating some three-point shot opportunities for him by driving the ball inside. So the Pistons overall just didn't have the energy we see. They couldn't play the type of defense we've seen in the last few games. But it's still all good, because one thing I still feel tremendously good not having Josh Smith on the roster any longer, because Josh Smith, like I mentioned before, I think he was just basically poison for the Pistons, because he got the Pistons in a mindset that it's okay to miss free throws. It's okay to take bad shots. I think the team was getting a total, there was a point where Josh Smith really had the team mirroring his play. They played, Josh Smith turned the ball over a lot. He missed a lot of free throws. He took a lot of shots to get some of the results that he got for his own self. But now it looked like the Pistons are finally able to play as a team, and it's really exciting to watch. But you're right about Drummond. Drummond, there seems to be a little bit of stagnation on him. He didn't get any alley-oops, any jams. He didn't even make any hook shots. So he definitely did not play effectively tonight. And of course, when you compare him to Davis, and Davis is only 21 years old, but he's averaging 24 points per game in the league. So he's right up there with Harding and LeBron. So this guy is just some amazing talent for him to be able to have a jump shot and be able to jump over people and play that type of defense. He is going to be one of the top players in the league, which he's probably already coming already. So,
and I really think the amazing thing when you compare Davis and Drummond, remember they came out the draft in the same year. And before the draft, it was talk who was gonna go 1 or 2, Drummond or Davis. But as the college season went along, and you saw Drummond play with Connecticut, UConn, he his play didn't warrant a top number 1 pick. So what happens? You saw Davis still stayed as the number 1 pick, and Drummond fell to us. I think it was the 8th or the 9th pick. And which was good. Drummond is definitely good because we definitely needed Andre Drummond, but Davis is just light years ahead of Drummond as far as his development, his energy, and his play right now.
Well, yeah, but tonight, only thing I was really concerned with tonight, of course, Jenny led all scoring on the Piston with 19 points, and then Moreau had 16, and then of course you had DJ Augustine with 13 and Meeks with 11. And the thing that really bothers me is that Tolliver, he had a bad game. He missed a lot of three-point shots, and which I thought that he kind of took some shots, at times where the game was pretty much already decided. But Tolliver still got 9 points. But the reason why I'm concerned is that our small forwards, we don't have any small forwards scoring any type of points today. That's even is not as good as Tolliver played, and even DJ Augustine, he wasn't really DJ Augustine, but he still managed to get 13 points as a guard, and Tolliver is also able to get some 9 points. But I'm thinking, Where is Karan Butler? Where is Singler? You know, what I mean, where are our small forwards? What's the deal with these guys now?
I really
Freeze?
think it's really been the small forwards and the shooting guards, man. These last few games, we haven't been getting any scoring from those positions at all. And I think it's time, man, to get Single out that starting lineup and go play, two shooting guards, play Contavious Caldwell Pope and Meeks. Just put Pope at the small forward and let Meeks play the two. I think you'll still keep your defense in there. You still be able to check the threes with Pope, but you'll have a better chance of offense with those guys on the floor. I just like I said, I'm not a fan of Kyle Singler at all. That to me, he should be the next person off this team. And why he's
Right.
starting, I have no clue. I don't know what the coach sees in this guy. You saw tonight. Every time he tries to lead the fast break, we had a chance to cut the game down. He's coming down court. We in a fast break situation, and he turns the ball over, and they come back and hit a three, and that completely killed the momentum. You know what I'm saying? He made a couple bonehead plays on defense that Stan Van Gundy didn't like, and you didn't see him for the rest of the game. So I really think they need to upgrade the small forward position, and we got to do some more. KCP and Meeks have to do better playing that shooting guard position.
Absolutely, I agree. Singler did stand out in my eyesight tonight when I watched the game. And I'm always rooting for the guy because I want to win. But when you go out there and you continuously running over players, you're stepping out of bounds, you're missing shots early in the game, and the worst of all, you just like you said, giving up a lot of you know letting players score points right over you. It makes you wonder: is there a problem with him right now? Because Singler right now, he is really when he went down there on a fast break in the fourth quarter and threw the ball right directly to the other team's player without even
Mm-hmm.
looking. The Stan Van Gundy took him out the game and went over there and talked to him. It was like Stan Van Gundy had enough of this guy tonight. He was like, what are you doing? Why you just blindly throw a ball past the ball back when we had a fast break? So
But even after saying all that, I guarantee you he's gonna be the starter for the next ball game. And it seems like when Jennings does something crazy, we've seen it all through the season, even tonight, even though Jennings was playing good and had 19 points, he never went back in the game. But Singler makes so many mistakes, but he's continued to allow to go out there and just continue to make mistakes and is not punished for it. You know what I'm saying? I really don't understand why he has such a long leash from Van Gundy, and to me, he's not helping the team at all.
right, because I'll be honest, I would really like to see the Pistons when they start games in the first quarter try to get the ball to Pope early because when they called that timeout, they finally got Pope a shot. But when they started that first quarter, it was like they were trying to work the ball between Marole and Singler. And I think you got to make sure your two guard gets comfortable shooting early fast because Pistons are starting to get into a habit of falling behind in these games. And in fact, in the even with their winning streak, they had to battle back from every game that they won. Toronto, San Antonio, it's been really an episode of them falling back, and you could probably really look at Singler as a player that might need to be benched right now because we need somebody out there as a small forward who's going to help us to score some points early in the game so we can keep these games closer. So when we bring our bench out there, they can have a more competitive game because in all reality, we do have a good bench. We do have the ability with Meeks coming out there, and then you have that rotation between maintaining either Marole or Drummond out there. We still maintain a real fast game even with our bench coming out there. But you're right, with Singler, it seemed like he is just not giving us enough early to really keep the game close.
Oh, I definitely agree. Something has to be done. I mean, I think the coach saw it tonight. Single only played 18 minutes. He didn't shoot bad. He was 3 for 6, 1 for 3 from the 3 point. He had 7 points. But it's he had them couple turnovers he had, particularly that one. We already down, and you got KCP streaking the left side of the lane. Could have had an easy layup, but he throws a no look pass to the right side of the lane to somebody and throws right to the other team. To me, that's just stupidity, man. And
Right.
that's when they took him out the game. And like I said, they're going to have to upgrade that small forward position. And I honestly think the answer is on the team with Gigi Datome. He can't go out there and do any worse than Singler. You know what I'm saying? Get a guy a chance to see what he has. You know what I'm saying?
And I'm hoping that when he get a chance to play this weekend with the D League, he can finally get loose, show the coaching staff that he can play at a higher level than what we're seeing from Singler. But one thing, going back to Singler, I'm not just pressing him for this game. I'm looking back at even the last 10 games. Singler has been consistently, doing things out there that's been, I think, a little bit goofy. I know that's a hard word to use somebody, but when you out there and you playing and you dribbling the ball and you're running over people and you got opportunities to make layups and you're just running over and missing easy shot, it's almost like he's starting to look like Josh Smith to me a little bit. It's almost like
I definitely agree. I was about to say it's the same thing because I particularly do not like him handling the ball when he gets a rebound in fast break situation. That's the same thing Josh Smith did. But Singler is even worse coming down the court, man, dribbling the ball, man, because he dribbles with his head down. He doesn't normally pass the ball. He tries to go coast to coast. I'm tired of it, man. And every time they throw him the ball, man, he flings up a shot, man. He never tries to make a pass or look for the open teammate or anything. He all of a sudden he think he's Kyle Korver or something. He just out here just flinging up threes and flinging up shots, man. And I just don't think he's that good of a player. I'd rather those shots be taken by Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, somebody with more upside, somebody with a better shot, and have him continue to develop, you know what I'm saying, because he has way more upside to Singler. Singler is who he is, and he's not somebody that should be starting on a professional basketball NBA team, in my opinion.
And now with the makeup of the Pistons bench, I think, in time I'd see even Tolliver outperforming Singler because Tolliver do play a little better defense and block some shots. And then when he get hot shooting threes, he does maintain his streakiness. But with Singler, like you mentioned, I understand that he's out there to make threes, but I notice when he takes little short 15-footers around the rim, he's missing these shots. He's not consistently knocking down even the short shot. To me, a player should be able to, that even make threes, should be able to hit a little short jumper around the free throws. But Singler is missing all these shots. It's just you can't rely on his offense. He's not consistent. And then overall, the coaches are playing him too many minutes. Even tonight, he stayed out there all the way in the first quarter to the 2-minute mark. He was the last person to lead the court from the starters. You know what I mean? To me, he is one player that do not need to be the last player getting put on the bench after all the starters sit down. I think the coaches need to, even if you're going to keep him in the starting lineup, get him out early. Get him out at the 7-minute mark. Get him out early in that first quarter. You do not need to play him and ride him as long as he's doing in these games because we got better shooters, better players on that bench than Singler.
I definitely agree with you, and like I think Van Gundy made a great move with Josh Smith, but I don't think he's going to have the guts to make this move with Singler and trade this guy. I really honestly think they sent a Gigi to the D League to shop him to the other teams around the league to trade him. That's honestly what I think is coming. And I think it'd be very stupid. You're going to see him go to a team and really flourish as a player in the NBA, and the whole time we had what we needed on our bench. You just never gave the guy opportunity. He only played one game this season for a few minutes, scored 7 points, got a nice jump shot, but you don't let the guy play, man. It's just stupid to me. But enough with tonight's game. Let's look forward to the next game on Friday. We playing the Indiana Pacers. What do you got to say about the Indiana Pacers?
Yeah, Freeze, I do want to speak about the Indiana, but just one point before we, one more point I want to make about this game, and not really particularly this game, but I do want to make a point about Kyle Singler, one more point. Now, I think that me and you together, we had some future past broadcasts that we really, going back to Josh Smith, we really sound off pretty strong about why we thought Josh Smith should not be on this team. And it took a long time. The season started back in November, and it took 2 months, but we were able to finally see Josh Smith removed off the Pistons. And you can stand up and celebrate that Josh Smith is no longer on the Pistons, and we may be instrumental in helping that cause. I'm hoping that maybe somebody heard us. I'm hoping that our voice out there is being heard, that, we let this team get better by putting the right pieces together, get rid of the players that can't get the job done. And I'm just still excited to watch and the Pistons today, and I'm excited that we were able to consistently sound off that Josh Smith was not right for this team. And I think now, if you listen to us, I think we're sounding off right now that Kyle Singler is not right for this team. I think if we continue to see these players replace with new players that we know that can help this team start winning more games, then I think that maybe our voices could be heard all over the state of Michigan. Because I'm really right now really would like to see that the Pistons make some kind of small move to replace our small forward, because I think that is one of the most glaring problems that we have on this team right now. We had it with Josh Smith, and now we still have it with Kyle Singler. You know, I mean, and nothing against Kyle Singler. He was a great player at Duke, and he does help the Pistons, you know, to win games. But I think that the Pistons, like as we've seen tonight, how they struggle against a team in the West, we need to make sure we give ourselves an edge, and that's by finding us one of the better small forwards. It could be GG, it could be even somebody on the bench, but I'm just saying right now, please, Piston organization, let's try to find a way in the next week to bring in us a new small forward so this team can really be electrifying. Okay, but Freeze, yeah, with Indiana, I'm excited for this game on Friday. This is where I started about
before we even get to that, you know, I got to speak small singular. I'm looking at the NBA. I'm looking at other people's benches. You got a small forward who was a first-round pick last year in Orlando Magic, Maurice Harkless. I really like to see the Pistons go ahead and try to trade Kyle Singler and Cartier Martin to Orlando, try to pull off on Maurice Harkless. And they got another guy who ain't playing, who's pretty good in the post, power forward, Andrew Nicholson. Mm-hmm. Those two players, the trade works, I think, is youth. And you can go ahead and plug a Maurice Harkless into the starting small forward, and he'll give you great defense. You know what I'm saying? He's able to knock down open shots. He'll be able to hit a three-pointer. He can slash, and he's athletic. I think that's what we need for this team, and that's the player that I really think the Pistons should make a few phone calls and try to get that going. I just want to get out there. But let's go back and talk about the Indiana Pacers now.
Well, yeah, well, absolutely. And with the Indiana Pacers, as I mentioned before, back on the December 26th is when the Pistons was able to finally run off a long winning streak, and it started with the Indiana Pacers. And I think when we get an opportunity this Friday to play Indiana this Friday, I think we really need to really come out really strong early in the game. Pistons today really started very sluggish. They fell behind, and they never even had a lead this game. So I think that it's going to be very important for the Pistons to win this game, because they still got the spirit of Michigan's, you know, really trying to root for this team. There's a lot of new people getting on this bandwagon for the Detroit Pistons, and just like the announcers tonight on the Pistons said, for them to keep this momentum, they do not need to lose 2 games in a row, so they need to fight very hard to beat Indiana, because, and the reason why, if we beat Indiana at Indiana, we get to come home and play Philadelphia, one of the worst teams in the league. So
we really have a good chance to pass Indiana in the standings. Looking at the standings tonight, we're number 12 in the East tonight, 14-25. Indiana is 15-25, so we're a half game behind them. Now, by beating them and beating Philadelphia, who knows? Brooklyn could lose a couple games within the next few days, and we can leapfrog to the 8th spot from 12th to 8th. It's that simple. So, you know, I really think it's important we got 2 winnable games coming up with Indiana and Philadelphia. I really think we need to go ahead and get these victories and really get the momentum back with Detroit basketball right now.
Absolutely, Freda. You're right. This is a very important weekend. You win these 2 games, you are really seriously in the mix. You're going to be, the NBA is going to start talking about Pistons being in the playoffs. They're going to start really hooping it up, because the Pistons do got some really nice talent on this team. They just got to, like I said, get more stronger in that small forward and just continue to just play good defense. And the most important thing, we got to get Drummond back. We got to get this man getting some alley-oops and getting some early jams and get him back into the floor of the game. So I think Pistons are on their way. Monroe's been playing consistently. Point guards are playing real good, and I still feel good about Meeks and Pope. So I think right now we just got to continue to make sure that if a player I like Singler, or if somebody out there that's not playing good, pull them, bring a new player in, you know. And I know we didn't even talk about Jerebko. And if Jerebko, you know, he didn't play really great tonight, but if he could continue to keep hustling and keep getting rebounds and But tonight, everybody was missing their shots tonight. I think the Pistons was 1 for 9 for threes early in the game. The only person made a 3-point in the first quarter was Pope. So, we got to make sure we get our 3-point shots down. But more and more, we got to make sure that Drummond and then our two guards make their shots early in the game.
I definitely agree with you. But I think that's enough with the Pistons talk right now. We also didn't get a chance to recap on the Detroit Lions season in the last game they played. What do you got to say about the last Lions game?
Oh, yes. I forgot about that. Right. Freeze. One thing I do want to applaud the Lions. They were 11-5. They made the playoffs with a new head coach, and they had a new defense and offensive coordinator. And you have to really stand up and applaud both of them because the defense and the offensive coordinator really, really, brought some changes to this team, especially the defense coordinator, because now he's being wine and dined by the Atlanta Falcons because they want to try to see if Austin could be their new head coach down there. But then, the thing that I think the Lions still going to have to really look back, if they do, continue to keep Lombardi, the offensive coordinator, calling the plays, he's going to have to really bring in some new wrinkles. He's going to have to come out and be a little bit more creative in his play calling. I think, to me, that was the only negative thing. It was watching Lombardi call plays and maybe the inconsistency of Matthew Stafford. But all in all, the Lions really played good this year. I can really applaud, the whole team. But we know there's going to be changes. Caldwell said NFL teams go through 35% of the personnel will leave any NFL team. So you're going to lose 35% of the team next year. And we got Sue needing a contract, and there's a lot of other players that are free agents that we're going to have to try to figure out how we're going to keep. But the future is bright for the Lions. They just need to go ahead and draft smart, and bring in some new players, a guard, a cornerback, and just keep working on making the offense better and hopefully be able to re-sign Sue. But if you don't re-sign Sue, just bring another big body up there and just keep that energy going because Detroit
Did you hear the news about Fairley? They didn't pick up his option. Did you hear anything about that?
No, I didn't read about that at all.
I read. Let me see if I can bring it. I thought I read that the Lions didn't pick up his option or something. I don't know. I didn't look too much into that, but let me see if I can find some news on that right quick. But kind of forgot about Fairley. He's been hurt so long. You know what I'm saying? He's the. If you're not gonna have Sue, you gotta have a guy like Fairley in there to plug up that middle, man.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I can't see you letting them both get away. One of them will have to. You got to at least keep Sue or Fairley, but you got to have some strong defensive tackles.
Definitely agree. Yeah.
But we know next year, I'm 100% sure you won't see Raiola any longer. I'm sure that they're going to go in a different direction and just let Travis Swanson be the starting center. And good news with him, when he injured himself in that last game, they said it was minor, so he should be able to come back, starting the OTAs immediately without having any setback with any surgery or anything. So
I definitely agree. I can't. For some strange reason, I can't find the news on Fairley. So
I didn't see anything. I'm usually, I'm reading. If it was something really, stand out, they would have definitely put that in one of the local news. So I didn't see anything about Fairley, but I do know he's a free agent, and they're going to have to make a decision with him. But I think all in all, the Pistons, the Lions, they should really be better next year because I think they know they niche now. It's just trying to, But yeah, I just kept hearing a banging sound there. But but all in all, I think the Lions just need to continue to win games. If you can go next year and be 11-5 again, you're back in the playoffs. If you just keep winning 11, 12 games, you'll be in the playoffs and you'll be able to make that run. But let me just discuss one other thing. That with that playoff game between the Lions and Dallas, it was the reason why I don't want to be so hard on the Lions. Lions had opportunity to win that game because when it was about 8 minutes left, the Lions had the ball on 3rd down and 1, and they threw the ball to Pettigrew, and the referee threw a flag out there and saying pass interference, and then they moved the ball up like the Lions was about to get the ball on the 30-yard line, first down, and then the head referee spoke with the head lineman, and then they both agreed that there was no penalty, so they put the ball back and made it 4-1, and the Lions end up shanking a punt, and then basically that's ball game, But
I mean,
but
you really look at when you look at Detroit sports, we always get shafted on calls, man, and that's why I think it's key. I don't care what any Detroit team, the Red Wings, Tigers, anybody. If you got a chance to put a team away and blow them out, you have to do that. You can't lead a game into the hands of the officials because when you got a team like Dallas with their history, you gonna get shafted every time, man. They gonna
right.
give them the benefit of the doubt, and they was playing at home. They'll much rather see the Cowboys move on in the playoffs than the Detroit Lions. The funny thing is, the Cowboys played the next week, and then they got a call reversed on them. Dez Bryant, I think, had a touchdown, and then they say he didn't complete the catch. So I believe in karma, and that all worked itself out. But the Lions definitely got to work on a better killer instinct and putting teams away next year.
Well, you're right, Fred. I think that started with the head coach Caldwell because a lot of critics, and he was nationally criticized for not going for it on 4-1 because there was still a lot of time left in that game, 8 minutes. So why give the ball back to Dallas without even a shot to see if you can pull off that first down? If the Lions would have got that first down, that would have kept them with the ball. They most likely could have milked the clock down about 5 or 4 minutes and maybe even pick up a field goal to give themselves a 6-point lead. So really the critics saying, you got to be aggressive. Because one thing I have to give credit to the Dallas head coach, it was 4th and 6, and he went for it and threw that ball to Witten, their tight end, and that play of its own helped the Dallas Cowboys to win because they stayed aggressive. Now, it kind of really kicked them back in the face next week against Green Bay because he tried to go for it again by throwing that ball off the Dez Bryant, and like you said, he didn't finish the process, and then Green Bay ended up getting the ball back, and they never seen that ball again. So I agree. Sometimes you have to be aggressive, but I think you got to be smart. I know Caldwell said the reason why he wanted to punt the ball is because he felt like with 8 minutes, the strength of his team is his defense. So he felt like if he could have pinned the Dallas Cowboys back on the 10-yard line, then maybe it would have been very difficult for the Dallas to drive and score and win the game. But my thinking, if you only got a 3-point lead, then you got to stay aggressive on the offense. You never put yourself in a situation if your team is only up 3 points or even 6 points. If a team has enough time to drive all the way down that field to either win with a touchdown or a field goal, and you have that ball on the offensive end, and you have a chance to pick up a first down to beat this team, I think you got to be aggressive. And that's my thinking. Be aggressive, especially in the playoff. You don't never give an offense another opportunity to drive down that field. The Detroit Lions defense is tough, but when a team is going to make that final drive, then they're going to go for it on 4th down. And so every play down the field is going to be 4 downs, and most teams are going to pick up that first down, if they get 4 chances. So I think Caldwell should have been aggressive. I think he was wrong by saying, let's put the hands in the defense. Maybe in a regular season game, but not in the playoff. A playoff is do or die. You don't never put yourself in a position where that other team can beat you with a late driving down the field. And I think Caldwell really needs to really think that over again next year if he makes it to the playoff again.
Definitely agree with you, and I think that's going to cap it on our Lions talk. Let's run by a couple more sports before we get out of here. Let's talk about a little bit of look at the Detroit Red Wings, look at their record. They're let's see, 23, 11 losses, 9 ties, 55 points. They're 3rd place in the Eastern Conference for the
That's
National
right.
Hockey League, and they're doing pretty good. They won their last game. In the last 10 games, they're 6-3-1. So you got we got to start talking a little bit more about the winning teams in Detroit. They're doing pretty good right now. What do you
Oh,
have to say about the Red Wings right now?
Well, yeah, I'm excited about the Red Wings. I watched them yesterday, and now with that win yesterday, that puts them only 3 points behind Tampa Bay for the lead spot in the division. But of course, the sad thing is for the next month, we're not going to have Jimmy Howard, and it also means he's going to miss the All-Star game on the 25th. So, but it's our current goalie. even though he played spectacular last night, Meserek, so he really showed that he can fill in for Jimmy Howard, they starting goalie. And but the good thing with the Red Wings right now, other than Howard, they're relatively healthy. You got Datsuk, Zetterberg, all healthy right now, and Franzen. So you got a team that's playing at at a really high level right now. And then it was good yesterday, to see Nyquist and also, to get some goals to get back out of the slump because he was in a bit of a slump. So with the Red Wings, to me, I'm seeing a team that is going to definitely be ready to continue fighting on through the rest of this year to maintain a playoff positioning. And I think from how they're playing right now, they should do pretty good in the playoffs because the playoffs is all about just taking your time and playing and scoring. And Red Wings is definitely a fast team that can score a lot of goals. So yeah, thumbs up to the Red Wings. And in fact, I'm really proud of all of the Detroit teams right now. Freeze, when you break it
Definitely.
on.
You looking at, what I'm saying, Michigan State, what I'm saying, they're doing pretty good right now. They're 12-5, 3-1 in the Big Ten. So they got a nice winning record. You look at Michigan, they're 10-7 and 3-2 in the Big Ten. So they playing okay. What I'm saying? We definitely got to do a better job covering more of these sports teams, even though the Pistons are playing great right now. But we definitely got to get a recognition to the college teams and also Detroit Red Wings. So
Oh
it's
yeah.
looking pretty good in Michigan with the sports right now.
Oh yeah, definitely. We definitely want the next time we've got to touch base up a little bit on Michigan and Michigan State College basketball. So I think all in all, Michigan teams are hot. And in fact, I want to also make mention and also give a credit to the Michigan State Spartans football team because they really played a exciting bowl game. When they played Baylor, the fifth-ranked team, it looked as though they were going to lose that game, but the comeback that they created in that game to come back and win that game as they did was just shocking. They really was phenomenal. I remember in one play, the quarterback, it was 4th and 10 when the time was running out, and he completed a 4th and 10 to get a first down. And eventually, they moved all the way down to like the 10-yard line, and also was third. And he threw a couple errant passes where it looked like he wasn't even going to even pull the game through. And then on the last down he had, dropped back, threw that ball down the middle and touchdown, and they won that game. So Michigan State, was really spectacular in that bowl game. So that's what I mentioned before. When you look at the Michigan State Wolverines, and then also Hallborough, we didn't mention that the University of Michigan have a new quarterback, the old San Francisco 49ers head coach, John Hobo. So I think you're going to see a big push from the University of Michigan to start playing better. I know he's looking for a starting quarterback, Harbaugh, so look for University of Michigan football to be back on the map again too. So that's what I mentioned. When you look at all of the football here in the Big Ten, and then you got to give accolades to the Ohio Buckeyes for winning the national championship too. So you're looking at the Big Ten really, are on the top. So they are on the spotlight now. So and that carries a lot of scrum for Michigan State and Michigan to continue to make sure the Big Ten stays strong. So really, when you look at football with Detroit Lions and Michigan State, we should be very proud. And then don't forget it on February the 20th. The pitchers and the catchers got to report the training camp for the Tigers. So you're gonna see, at the beginning of March, all the baseball getting back together. And we got a good baseball team. Been making the playoffs. We won the division. So that's what I'm saying. You look at the Tigers, the Red Wings, the Lions, and really the last thing. We just hope the Pistons can keep pushing on. We can probably look at and have every one of our teams, and I think it's probably the first time I might have ever seen in history that we might be able to have every one of our teams in the playoffs. So if the Pistons can continue their winning ways, then we may have just witnessed the arrival of all our Detroit teams, because that means the Tigers, the Pistons, the Lions, the Red Wings, Michigan State. These guys are in the playoffs, and it's exciting to see them moving in through the sports at a successful level.
Definitely agree with you. Definitely agree with you. And go ahead and everybody stay tuned. Thanks for listening to us. Stay tuned for our next broadcast. Probably do on Friday, not sure, but stay tuned to the channel. Subscribe. Let everybody know. Thanks for listening to us.
Thank you. We're out.